Hey everyone, MrAnimeRandom here. Welcome to the Random Anime Podcast. It is episode 13. I can't believe we have gone 13 episodes already. It's going to be a very exciting episode. We're going to go ahead and talk about pirates. We're going to talk about ninjas, and we're going to talk about sword fighting. We're going to relate those different aspects which have been around for a long time in real world with anime. And joining me today is Chris,
Yo, what's poppin'?
Nate,
Hey, it's Daddy Death. What's going on?
and Zach.
I may be from the South, but I do not put barbecue on everything.
So, guys, we are going to delve into all of these fun little topics. And I figured since it's three of you and myself, I will give each one of you your own topic. We will go into depth with different anime that brings up all of these different topics. And we're going to go ahead and relate the real world applications or history of these different topics to the anime, how it compares, how it contrasts, and take it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the newest member of the Random Anime Podcast, Chris. Let's go ahead, Chris. Let's talk about ninjas
Oh
for a
man,
minute. I'm sure you have seen one of the biggest anime out there, Naruto. Yes?
absolutely.
And you have seen, I would say, a sizable amount of anime that have dealt with ninjas besides Naruto, yes?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Now, with ninjas and with the use of ninjas in, history in the olden times from decades or centuries ago, what was a ninja's job? How did they relate to real life society and everything else?
They were the working class, like farmers, regular civilians, and that's how they really stayed in the shadows by blending in and being normal people.
Okay, now would you say that ninjas in that aspect were really just blending in with society more so than, wearing all black and going in the middle of the night and kind of that's more of the far-fetched version of what a ninja actually is.
Actually, yeah. In fact, the black garb became popularized um, when ninja were being depicted in fiction, starting in theater. Traditional ninja, when they ever had to dress at night in that kind of garb, it was actually indigo because that was the dye that they would use. So it was like a navy blue color. And when it's dark, I mean, navy blue might as well be black.
Right.
But in theater, the stage hands and people that were changing pieces of the set, they were the ones that looked like what you would consider nowadays a ninja. They would dress all black so that they weren't really being seen on stage. So yeah, like the real ninjas. Um, and I believe, if I remember correctly, the most common thing they wore was like regular clothes. They were hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. And that's where the ninjas really took place, and they weren't, the less that you knew about them, the better off that they were doing as far as their job and their title was. Now, I'm going to go ahead and direct this question over to you, Zach. Talking about Naruto, probably one of the biggest ninja anime out there. What's one thing that's kind of a silly thing that makes it, the opposite of what a ninja would be in Naruto?
A lot.
Well,
But
what would
the thing at the
what
top of the
would
list
be
would be those stupid hand signs that everybody tries to copy.
well, not just that. I'm talking about even the main character, what the main character even wears.
Oh heck! I mean, we aren't going to wear all orange jumpsuits, are we?
Yeah.
Like most people
Prisoners.
back in those days, if you were a farmer or those kind of things, what do you think you would wear? You would wear a big baggy shirt so it would be loose. You could cool yourself off, and more than likely, you were wearing like some sort of shorts and sandals. So that the most realistic depiction of a ninja that you could probably get from Naruto would be Neji.
Net Neji is definitely one of the ones that you would depict, but the other one I was also thinking that will relate somewhat to the farmer aspect would be the one that has the nickname Scarecrow, also known as Kakashi.
You
He
could, you could.
Now, yes, wearing the headbands and all that stuff. We're not talking about the embellishments. We're not talking about
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. We're talking about he's not really wearing any type of outlandish kind of clothing. He's kind of wearing like workers' clothing for the most part. And he kind of blends in. He's not trying to be noticed or seen. He's just trying to fit within society so that he's not really much any different than anybody else.
Except for that one time where he was literally trying to troll everybody with what was under his mask.
Well, that was the one kind of filler episode in that point. So,
Still
um,
a very good filler episode.
So many filler
oh
episodes.
yeah, so many, way too many.
Not
Now,
more than One Piece, though.
now, Nate, with ninja, you have other aspects of being a ninja, and that was, serving the emperor or serving the dynasty, and
The Shogun.
with the ninja, they were one of the highest classes or the highest levels of honor that you can essentially get. And it was really depicted from the emperor, because the emperor was obviously the ruler, and the ninja was kind of like this highest noble class of people, but yet they were just these almost like the workers class, just like what Chris was saying, like the regular class. They were, the farmers, or they were just the builders or whatever else, they were kind of fitting in. um Now, do you think that if we were back then, long, long time ago, when ninjas were prevalent, when ninjas were kind of around,
Uh-huh.
do you think that ninjas, with our vision, with way that society is today, with society how it was then, do you think that they would be looked at as that high noble class, or do you think that they would kind of be looked at differently?
Well, probably differently, because I see ninjas as like poor fighting for the poor. That's what I see it as. I don't see them. I don't see ninjas as like a high class fighting for the nobles, because they had a rough time too. Um, and they would help other farmers too, and it would be, yeah, back then it'd be crazy.
Yeah, they be those guys like, man,
Yeah,
we don't care about that other village. We got our own stuff to deal with. We got our butts shot with an arrow last week, and we can't get it pulled out.
Now,
now wait. Do you classify ninja in the same category as samurai?
No.
well, ninja and samurai were two specific different
Yeah,
classes. So I put them in different classes. Ninja were put on special missions, and they had specific duties. Now, yes, the samurai had those same type of things, but the samurai were known. The
yeah,
samurai were people that were, uh, I am a samurai. Like, don't mess with me, because I have really good
right.
fighting
And that's when I
skills.
hear
And
noble. When
right.
I hear samurai, I hear noble. When I hear ninja, I hear like poor class.
Well, again, it was kind of mixture of the two, because there's
Oh yeah,
there's
they need money.
there's there was dynasties back then that would go ahead and put ninjas actually at a very high level, and there were some that were keeping them very down below. But
Hmm.
the empire put the ninjas within their kind of assembly to do all these different missions like spy missions
Yeah.
or you
Assassinations.
know kind of like espionage kind of missions,
Yeah,
those type
dirty
of
work.
things, right? So it wasn't as if they were just kind of kept on the poor side, doing something for the empire or for the emperor was kind of like a big honor, especially
Yeah.
in China, Japan, and the Eastern Asian area. Um, Now I'm gonna go back to you, Chris. When
Mhm.
it comes to ninja anime, obviously they're gonna embellish a lot of things, right? Now, could you kind of off the top of your head, with the exception of like the few things that we were named already,
Yeah.
um, let's talk about Naruto. I mean, we could keep talking about Naruto. What are some things that happen in Naruto that would really not happen in like the real life ninjas?
I mean, you don't even have to just stick to Naruto. It's just basically because the history of ninjas that by the time you got into like the Meiji Restoration era, ninjas became like a figure of like awe and wonder, and that's when really they started being talked about. And so
Right,
from that time on, especially when they gained popularity in Western culture, like around World War I, when they stopped using the word shinobi and started using the word ninja, um, they all shared like similar traits that like have been tied to their folklore, since like the 18th century, which is basically like ninja magic or performing superhuman feats, like jumping higher than a normal person, being able to turn invisible like on a whim, controlling the elements, being able to like change the weather or like make it rain or just like draw a mist,
right,
and things like that.
Hmm. There's some truth to that too, because with drawing mist and invisible, you throw a smoke. You know,
right.
Smoke bomb.
Yeah, I mean there's
Well,
there's
they had
there's
their
there's a
form
lot
was.
of things that are
Yeah, go ahead.
used. There's a lot of things that are used in today's societies with spies and espionage that are essentially stemmed off of ninjas. One thing that a lot of the CIA and other government intelligence agencies, they will use people to dress in one aspect and be able to change into a completely different look or
Mhm.
a completely different persona almost at the blink of an eye and blend in and keep changing and morphing and going into different type of clothing and different wigs and different types of walking styles and different kinds of talking and all these different things. It's almost like
can
a
I butt in for a
cloaking.
sec?
Go ahead.
Um, with all you just said, uh, with all the changing and stuff, when I think when you say that, I think about magicians.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean with magicians, yes, they do have those type of aspects and things like that too. But again, especially with the the ninja, they were known for not only having these blending techniques, but they studied, you know, hiding, and they've studied stealth, and they've studied, all of these different, you know, pieces of I guess you could call them technology or things that would be more or less a a technique,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
right?
I totally agree with you. But when I think of like how they have like ninja blend in, that kind of stuff. I think they're like human transformers.
Right. Now,
Transformers, humans
now,
in disguise.
hold on. Now, Chris, I'm gonna go back to you. The Here's a few aspects I'm gonna go ahead and mention from just ninja and what ninjas will be and or
Lagging.
if they're not. Okay.
Mr. Anime, you were lagging.
Yeah,
Oh.
you were lagging. I had trouble hearing you.
Big time lag.
All right. So it should. All right. Is it good?
Yep.
All right. So I guess we got to do a little cut on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be
Um,
easy.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is describe some aspects of ninja anime, and then I want you to go ahead and describe quickly to me, Chris, whether or not the anime blew it way out of proportion or if it's anywhere near what a real ninja type of um, technique would be.
Okay.
All right.
Get ready to play. Is this BS?
All right. So here we go.
I gotta pull out my PhD in ninjutsu.
So one of the techniques that are in ninja anime is a cloning technique.
You mean like the scarecrow cloning or
Any
the straw man cloning?
any type of clone technique.
Yeah, but you mean like making a decoy? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, got it. I want to say that's rooted in truth.
Yes.
Using straw man and like scarecrow type, um, because especially at night and in the dark, you don't need to make it perfect for it to look, like a human. Just make sure it's wearing similar clothes or exact the same clothes. I mean, it's not hard to replicate. So yeah, that was definitely rooted in reality.
Or even using a mirror.
Now, how about another technique that's kind of widely used or used to some aspects is almost like a copy technique, meaning you would copy the same kind of movements or actions that your opponent would go ahead and use.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially if you're talking about fighting, that's not even limited to ninjutsu. But yeah, copying was a great strategy because then you're throwing off your opponent because now you're not like you're fighting like them.
That's definitely those are two of the biggest ones. I just wanted to cover those real quick before moving on. Now, just a fun little fact that I saw when doing just kind of a little bit of research. There was a technique I saw that in general to help with training for jumping great distances or great heights. There's a way where you actually plant a few corn seeds and you let the corn stalks grow, and every day you jump over the corn stalk. And because corn stalks grow pretty rapidly, it gets higher and higher essentially every day. So it increases your height distance that you have to go ahead and jump over. And then there would be a way eventually where you could get really, really high. Um, Especially if you're practicing multiple times a day. I thought that was actually pretty interesting.
That's
You
excellent.
know,
Yeah, that your uh agility would skyrocket.
yeah,
And the best part would be if you mess up, you can eat it.
and the other technique I saw before moving on from ninjas that um in the research done by a bunch of different scientists, they were looking at the Naruto run, where you have your arms back and then you're kind of leaning forward. They actually saw that it gives a little bit of an improvement in running than trying to do a regular run, a regular sprint.
I'm calling BS on that. There's no way.
What they're saying though is with that kind of run, if you have your hands in the right position, not like flopping around in the wind, but if you are going in that kind of direction, you're getting a little bit better with your aerodynamics and then your balance and the center of gravity on your body is actually helping you maintain any type of speed.
I need to verify this. Somebody call Usain Bolt, see if he's
Yeah.
available.
There you go. But so we're gonna conclude with the ninjas. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick little break, and we are gonna start off with our little break, our little intermission with Nate.
Yo.
We're going to play a fun little quick game where I'm going to go ahead and ask you a very quick and hopefully easy question. You only have 5 seconds to give me 3 different things that fit this category that I'm about to name. Are you ready?
Yeah, the best I can.
Okay.
Pressure.
Here we go.
Oh God.
Name 3 anime characters that are bald.
Saitama. Oh God. No, that's all I got.
2,
Yeah.
1.
I don't know any
And
other bald ones.
here's kind of another bald one. You also have this green guy that was actually a better father than Goku.
Oh, Piccolo. Okay.
He was
What about
bald.
Krillin?
Yeah.
You also got
Krillin.
Krillin.
DBZ.
Yang.
Oh.
You also have let's see, who else you got? I mean there's a bunch out there. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to think of
Well,
some
does Frieza count?
I don't think that has any hair anywhere.
Well, if Frieza doesn't count, Piccolo doesn't count.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They're sentient beings, so I don't know.
Hmm.
There's a few others. I'm gonna give you another shot. I'm gonna give you another 3 to name of a different category. Are you ready?
Me?
Yep.
Redemption.
Redemption.
All right, I will try my best.
Name 3 anime characters whose main weapon is a sword.
Sword, Kirito, the guy from Dungeon,
Gotta name the characters. 4,
oh
3,
no,
2, 1.
shit, I don't know his name. I forgot.
Oh.
All right, so the main characters or the characters that you could have named that use swords, one of them would be, I'm sure you know, Chris.
Oh my God.
There's
You
a
better
lot.
know.
Of
You
course
better-
I know.
You
There's a
better
lot.
know. Reverse blade sword. Come on now.
Himura. Himura Kenshin.
There you
Ronin
go.
Kenshin.
You also have a scissor blade wielding puta.
Whoa, calm down there.
Kill a kill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trunks.
You also have like every character from Bleach.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Does
Whole
Zoro
bunch of them,
count?
whole bunch of them out there.
Isekai, all of
And
them.
Zoro, come on now.
Zoro!
And speaking of Zoro, we are going to move into pirates.
Ooh.
Okay, now
Hide the
Zach,
rum.
I know you wanted to talk about this topic, so let me
Let's
go ahead and start us off by talking about piracy, which has been around for millennia.
Like
And
anime
unfortunately
piracy?
still exists.
It still exists, but not to the same extent that it once was, because
Yeah, now it mostly involves
back
speedboats and machine guns.
back a long time ago, you would have the shipping routes, and because there was really no quick communications like telephones and any type of faster
Oh.
transit,
No, man.
they
The
would
fa-
go
the
ahead and,
fastest you could get from England to the United States was 3 months.
well, what I'm saying is there was no telephones, there was no mail carrier service, there was no internet, there wasn't anything like that to warn of any type of piracy happening. So the pirates were more or less abundant than what they are now.
They use smokestacks.
Yeah.
So
I
Zach,
mean,
here's
it
here's what
was
I
so
want you to
bad
do,
they
Zach.
literally took over Puerto Rico
So
at one
here's
point.
so here's what I want you to do, Zach. I want you to go ahead and explain what piracy was back then, and we're going to be talking about one of the biggest anime out there, One Piece, and how piracy in One Piece is different than the real life piracy.
Okay, Piracy 101 coming from a North Carolinian. Great title. Piracy was in its heyday. The golden age was between the 1600s and the mid 1700s. It was a lot more gory than you would see like in Pirates of the Caribbean, but they still have some truth to it in those movies where there are there are ships fighting each other, fighting for crew, fighting against the Spanish, the English, the French for you name it. Goods, slaves, better ships. The seas were a hotbed of constant fighting. And a lot of people decided to do it just because they thought that they would make a lot more money doing piracy than anything else.
Hmm.
But it has drastically changed from back then with better technology, with better ways to take care of your shipping routes. Things have drastically changed. And now piracy is mostly concentrated on the western coast of Africa, mostly because of pirates taking advantage of some areas of Somalia as their bases, and now they raid cargo ships off in the Indian Ocean. Crap. Someone help me out. What was that movie that they made? It was based off a
Oh
true
yeah, with
story.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
Right.
someone help me out. What was it?
I can't think of
Ah,
it right now.
Uh,
But
Captain
but it
something.
has the meme, I'm the captain now.
anyway, the so piracy, you kind of summed it up. Now with One Piece, in let's say one short sentence, and I stress the word short
Mm.
sentence, describe One Piece. So describe the plot of One Piece in a very short one sentence. Go.
Oh boy. People with weird powers become pirates to get rich.
There you go. So in, let's say, the plot driven episodes of One Piece, so we're going to ignore any filler episodes or filler arcs or anything of that nature. We're only focused on the plot aspects of One Piece.
Wow, you really knocked it down from 800 episodes to 600.
Ah, there you go. Is there a lot of piracy that would be somewhat realistic? Exclude, and just listen to me first, exclude any type of the gum gum fruit or anything like that. So talking about just the ships, crews, going to different ports or different islands, and that aspect.
Okay.
So
There is there is actually a surprising amount of similarities, whether it's the names of the characters, the way they behave, or just the way the world is built.
so go ahead and give me a small example of something from One Piece that would be related to real life piracy.
3 names: X Drake, Captain Kidd, Blackbeard. All 3 characters are major people in One Piece, and they were real life pirates.
Right. And now we're not going to go too far into, just in case viewers want to go ahead and watch One Piece, as crazy as watching 800 some episodes would be. Um, it's
That would be a
definitely,
great YouTube video. One Piece
uh,
explained as best as you can.
yeah,
And it's
pretty
an
much.
hour long.
Now, now I'm going to bounce over to you, Nate,
Okay.
with One Piece, because I'm sure you've watched a decent amount of One Piece, yes?
Yeah.
With all of the different characters and the different visions of the captains of each different cruise. Do you think that, again, ignoring the anime aspect, like the gum gum fruits and the
hmm
cartoon aspects and the cartoon physics and that kind of stuff, right? We're gonna ignore that for a minute.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think that the crews that were built by the captains, meaning collected or assembled by the captains, were, uh, I would say, either loosely or very closely related to how the crews were assembled pirate days back hundreds of years ago?
Can you further explain?
All right, so back in 16, 1700s or so, captains, which would essentially be the Marines who were underpaid, who wanted to get more money, they would essentially go rogue. They would go on their own. They would formulate crews of people that they would either trust to some extent or that they would distrust, but they knew how to control distrust. And they would assemble their crews, put a ship together with cargo and everything, set sail, know exactly where to hit because they knew the routes, they knew
Yeah.
the land, quote unquote, essentially the island, the land masses that they would be landing on, and they knew the oceans better than most people because they already
Yeah.
had the training in those aspects. So with that, can you just remember episodes of One Piece and think, did they do similar things or was it kind of just different?
It was both because some it would be like random. Uh, some of them were random meetups. Some of them were you know meant to be, and it goes with real life too. And with real life, um, there would be people that just stumble upon the ship, and captains didn't even know, and then they just stayed there because it's money.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to look at something like One Piece and look at, pirates, real
Yeah.
life pirates, and see those differences, see those different comparisons between the two. It's actually pretty cool, I think. Um, Now, Chris, I'm gonna go on to you.
Okay.
Um, did you know that, and especially in the United States on the East Coast, and there's a reason why I'm mentioning you, not just because I'm just going in turn, but because we both live on the East Coast.
Right.
That many of the ships would come into shore. They would go to these different inns, these different taverns to rest, right, with their crew and everything else. And a lot of the times, some of these different sailors or pirates or buccaneers, privateers, everything like that, they would end up drinking a little bit too much. And then the captain and the rest of the crew said, screw it, and left them behind. And a lot of the times, other crews would be there or be coming in and essentially commandeer the left behind crew members. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
There's actually a place in Savannah, Georgia that they have a famous tavern. It's a famous old tavern where underneath the tavern, and it still exists, but it's kind of closed off now. You would go down to like the basement, and then if you walk through the tunnel, that's where the shipping docks were. So that's how they would load and unload cargo. And that's where the people would come too, because they would take the cargo off the ships, they'd go through the tunnels, and they would bring the cargo up to the tavern or up to the town, wherever it is where they're doing the deliveries. Well, what would happen is when some of the different people would get a little bit too drunk, and then the other crews would try to like commandeer these different people that were left behind. They would try to get them drunk too, because then they wouldn't even know. They would get them like super drunk, and then they would be like, "All right, you're coming with us," and they would just kind of go along. And now you're on a boat, and there's really no escaping it, and you're kind of just going like, "All right, screw it. I guess I'm with this new crew now," right?
Mm.
But from time to time, and this is kind of where it gets kind of a little bit sad and a little bit kind of creepy, is they would get too drunk to the point where they would get alcohol poisoning and die.
Oh,
Well, where were you going to go ahead and put the bodies? Well, you just dump them in those shipping tunnels
On the ocean.
and leave them there. That was
oh,
it.
no.
So as they're trying to drag those the pirates and the different crew members trying to bring them onto their ship and they died, they were like, "Oh, you're dead. Screw it," and they just left the body.
Man.
That was
What?
the reality of the day.
It's a pirate life for me.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
There's also a tier.
Basically.
There's also a
Now-
tier
Yeah,
of how important people are on the ship.
hide the
Well,
rum.
yeah.
Now I'm gonna do another break, and then we're gonna move on to the last segment, which I'm also very excited about. And now we're gonna go
Oh,
to
yeah.
Chris. Chris, it's your turn to play the game.
Bring it on, baby.
All right, here we go. So you're gonna have to name 3 anime characters that are half demon. Go. 5 seconds.
Seriously?
Oh man.
Oh no. Um.
Go.
Uh,
5 seconds.
And you watch this, brother.
Yes. But he wants names. That's the problem.
Names.
I don't have
Names of
names.
the
Oh.
characters.
Oh my god.
Come on. Come on. The anime that I keep mentioning over and over.
I said
Yeah, your anime, Yu Yu Hakusho.
So who is it?
it.
You spilled the answer.
Too late.
Wait, Yu Yu wasn't a half demon.
Yeah, it was.
No, when he started. Wasn't that his thing after he got resurrected?
It still
There's-
counts.
There's a few different
Okay.
characters within Yu Yu that are considered to be half
Well,
demon.
yeah, there's a bunch.
Now another one that's considered half demon is Inuyasha, of course.
Of course.
Can you think of any others?
I can.
Go ahead.
Ryuk-
Issei from High School DxD.
There you go.
No.
Yeah, so there's a few. All right, I'll give you a second chance.
Redemption.
Redemption.
Take 2.
We're all
Fire
getting
Buddha!
redemption. Oh my god.
Here we go. Here's your next one. Remember, you only have 5 seconds. You gotta name
This
3.
is so much easier when you're just listening and not playing. But then
Yeah.
you got the spotlight and you play, because like earlier I'm like, come on, how did you not think of Future Trunks with a sword, or how did you not think of Krillin or Tien?
Yeah,
And then you're like half demon, and I'm like,
All right.
exactly. It's the pressure.
This one might be a little bit easier. We'll see.
okay.
Name 3 anime that have at least 300 episodes.
Well, we just talked about
Come on.
Peace, Naruto, Dragon Ball, well,
Yep.
Dragon Ball Z, either one. No, I would say Z. That's 3.
There's 3.
Wait,
Now-
does Dragon Ball Z actually have over 300 episodes?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Well, the original run.
Now you could have also named
Right,
Case
with all the fillers.
Closed.
Fairy Tail.
Bleach.
I think the number 1 is what the heck was it called? Sazai-san?
Sazai-san, that's another one. You could have also named. Actually, Case Closed has the most episodes, I believe.
It's like 900 something.
Yeah, it's like 900 some. You could have
Oh,
also named
There's
Slam.
291 episodes in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh.
Oh!
Oh!
Oh no! Wait,
Fail.
did I say Naruto? Did I add Naruto already?
Yeah,
Bleach?
Yeah, you did.
No.
Um,
Now, another one you could have also named was, let's see,
One Piece?
Case Closed,
Hmm.
One Piece.
Um,
There's also trying to think
Fair-
if there's any
Fairy
other.
Tail, Bleach.
Well, no. Did Fairy Tail reach 300 episodes already?
I think it did.
I think that's a lot.
I know it has a lot, but I don't think it reached 300 episodes yet.
Look
But anyway, you hit it, so we'll count it. All right. So now we're going on to the last segment, and that is we talked about.
Oh, wait. Going back to the Fairy Tail thing, it's 328.
All right, so we just.
Oh, I mean, if you're gonna do that, then I need to bring in a fun fact too. Hamtaro had 296 episodes.
Oh,
Oh,
So close, Hamtaro. You almost made it.
but it didn't.
Now go
All right.
ahead.
So the last thing that we are going to talk about, because we talked about ninjas, we talked about pirates. Now we are going to talk about sword wielders, or the more in general term would be the sword fighters. Now, I wanted to kind of go a little bit in depth with it without going way too crazy, because we could definitely go on different eras in history, and there's a whole bunch of different topics that we could talk about. But we're going to keep this one just a little bit shorter. And Nate,
I gotta do my
It's going
dual
to be-
sword action.
Nate, it's going to be your turn.
Aye.
So, a few different anime that I can think of off the top of my head that deals with swords. Sword Art Online,
My favorite.
Rurouni Kenshin, and there's a few others that definitely use swords quite a bit.
Samurai Champloo.
Samurai
Yes, thank you.
Champloo and
Black Clover.
yes, there's a whole bunch of anime that uses swords, and there's techniques in which the swords are held and wielded, and it mainly focuses on the Asian culture, obviously, because it's anime. Now, there's all sorts of swordsmanship throughout history. There's, the Vikings, and there's the Gothic um, medieval era. There's all these different eras that use swords. Um, the topic that I want to mainly focus on is feudal Japan kind of era when they were using swords. They were forging the swords, and that's their main battle. That was their main
Mhm.
weapon. And then we're going to be talking about those different anime that use swords or have swords kind of still used. And we're also going to be talking about how even some of these more modern anime or anime that use kind of more modern technology or modern weapons
Mm.
still seem to use swords as their weapon, even
Yeah.
though a sword would definitely lose in a
In gun
gunfight.
battle.
So
I don't know if that's true.
What?
Depends on the range, the distance.
if you're a decent amount away, I think a gun could definitely win over a sword.
Mm.
Oh
Yeah,
hell, one of
if
those
you've got distance.
sniper guns, those things will take your head off.
Anything. But Nate, so
Mhm.
I want you to go ahead and talk about an anime that has swords mainly in it and kind of the way that a sword is used. And many of the anime that has swords in it, they tend to treat the sword a certain way, or the sword has a certain focus within the
Yeah.
anime. So go into depth about those different things.
All right. Let's go. Let's start with the Holy Grail sword art.
Okay.
Oh man, so many people would disagree with you.
All right.
Oh, all right.
So
Well,
so
listen
go
here.
ahead, Nate.
In the new sword art, the new season, uh, he learns how to use a sword because he forgot.
Okay.
Uh, and one of the things is he has a sword master, and the sword master is their job is to teach their own technique to their trainee. So he learns the technique, but he also puts his own um, he puts his own technique to the technique. So
Dual
that
wield action.
Right.
well, not even dual
So
wielding. He took a technique he had in his mind and put it in reality, which is in reality dangerous. Which is another thing, a misconception is if you do your own way, you can either die or it will go very well.
all right. So do you think that in anime that deal with swords or weapons that are sword like, so it could be either daggers or short swords or even
Mm.
long swords. Um, one of the anime that I think of off the top of my head, um, that has kind of, different size swords or weapons to that effect was also Tenchi Muyo.
Mm.
That's a good.
Mm.
Okay. There's different anime that have
Yeah.
different kind of sword like weapons, right? Um, do you think that a sword is placed into all these different anime as more of a relic to kind of maintain that kind of culture? Or do you think that it really should just be switched for something different or new? Because swords, like the traditional kind of sword, handle and blade, is kind of more of a outdated.
I don't think it's outdated since it's an anime. It's Japanese culture, and they like to uphold. They're very honorable people, so they uphold their past. So I think it's a good thing to have the sword for them in their anime. Um, in reality, it can be different because in reality, I mean, you're not going to win a battle with a sword against modern technology.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having the sword in the anime is upholding their honor as, what's it called?
And well, here I'm gonna bounce this over to Chris. Now, Chris, if we're talking about maybe like modified swords, enchanted swords, swords that can, have more manipulations or more kind of abilities, do you think that they're taking that, you know, uh, I would guess you could either say the classical or the more aesthetic look to what it once was, with the sword fighting, and then they're kind of just upping it a bit. They're kind of changing it to change with it's new, we're in the modern era now kind of thing.
Wait, can you ask that again with less words?
So
More simplified? So you're
if
asking me? Go
if
ahead.
if anime anime with swords has two different ways it can go about it. It can either be just a traditional sword, or it could be a sword that has either special weapon
Mm.
abilities or powers, or the person can enchant the sword, or it's not like a normal sword anymore. It's a sword, but it's beefed up.
Think God Eater.
Yeah.
So, which one do you think is better for anime nowadays?
I mean, really it depends on the fan. Sword fighting in anime, just in general, rarely mirrored real life. Even in Kenshin, the most realistic sword fighting that ever took place were like the quick, non consequential kills.
Right?
Most sword fights in real life were done in like 5 seconds.
Right.
Um, but you can't have that in an entertainment medium. You got to make a big flashy fight. It's like the Star Wars kind of fight. So for anime these days, I mean, look at the top grossing films in America or around the world, like Avengers. So you got to have a sword fight that's epic in the same way, and like a movie should reflect that. I feel like the movie Ninja Assassin, man, how old is that movie now? I would consider that more of a modern movie. Um, is it Ninja Assassin? Am I thinking of the right movie? The one that's really like
Mm,
gory. Ninja
right.
Assassin was the Lone Wolf and Cub. That's not what I'm talking about. That's from the 70s.
I'm trying
Um,
to think of which one it is.
but do you know the movie I'm talking about?
Yes.
It came out like maybe within the last 10 years.
I
Um,
I don't know the name of it right now.
yeah, but it's super awesome. And so like animes that reflect that, there's basically I feel like what would work are two types. The magical mystical types that aren't necessarily gory but are more like the Dragon Ball esque, like the fight is really drawn out. It doesn't have to be gory. The fight doesn't really have to end in a death. I feel like that would really be successful too. But then for the people who don't like that kind, then the other kind works where it could still be epic, but like it's brutal, it's bloody, it's sweaty, like parts are going
Right.
everywhere. But I feel like that would be less reserved for a series and more for like an OVA or a movie.
It's very
Hmm.
interesting. I think that definitely wraps up that different aspects. I think we covered a few different topics. It's very interesting, and we want to go ahead and do the quick little wrap up with our final little mini game with Zach.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Here we go.
Zach
I
screwed
don't
up
Are
want
the
to
you
do
Ghost of
it.
ready?
Redemption too.
I
All
don't
right, here
want
we
to.
go. So, 5 seconds. Name three anime characters that transform. Go.
Does it mean any transformation or
3
what?
seconds.
Cell, Issei from High School DxD, and Goku.
Okay.
Okay. That
Wait, does
I-
Issei really transform though? I mean, come on.
Technically, he does because he does transform into a giant dragon.
I mean, I would have cheated a little bit with that question. I would have said like Sailor Moon, Sailor Mars,
Yup.
Sailor Venus.
Oh my God.
I was totally thinking Sailor Moon. Yep.
I could have. Oh man, I should have just went Vegeta, Goku.
But you
Go
didn't. But you
But
didn't.
I did.
All right, I'll give you a redemption.
Redemption.
Dun dun
Hey,
dun.
I want an official review. I still say I did it.
I think you did.
Not really. Kind of, sort of, but not really.
Fine, I will take a redemption.
You did better than my
Right.
half demon.
Here we go. Name 3 fan service anime. Go.
Is This a Zombie? High School DxD, High School of the Dead.
Okay, there's your redemption.
Yay.
There you
There
go.
you
Sekirei.
I like how you answered that much easier than the first question.
go.
Well, it helps that Is This a Zombie is literally the DVD is literally right in front of my TV.
Well, that
Oh,
would
that's
definitely help.
cheating.
So
I just got it.
that concludes the 13th episode of the Random Anime Podcast. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys have answered any of the questions, what you guys think about pirates and ninjas and sword fighters, especially the ones that were from the Asian culture. Let us know all of that in the comments below. We're going to go ahead and read those comments. Hit that thumbs up button. It means a lot. It also means a heck of a lot as well when you hit the subscribe button and that bell icon so you can get notified on when new episodes come out. And as always, guys, deuces up.